Hey guys, with Oliver Sharp here from My Growth. He's been in call center mastery for how long now, Oliver?
3 or 4 months, somewhere
Three or
in
four
between the two of
months.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not too long, but enough time to get everything built out. He's kindly agreed to do a testimonial with us. So I'm just going to quickly answer some questions, Oliver. Like I said, go through it, and yeah, welcome to the video, man.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm really excited to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, I've loved the course, and I think everyone's probably going to hear that with just the way I talk about it. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm
love it,
excited to
man.
do this.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. So jump straight in. What was it like working the call center? Did you even have a call center? Remind me, did you have a call center before call center mastery? Did you try and build one?
Yeah, so I did try when I very first started out. So when I first started my agency, I was sort of like a lot of people work with me as far as right. Like I'd seen a couple of Thomas Grenade videos. I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna start calling these leads up myself and stuff like that. So for context, I work with clinics in North America and I'm based in New Zealand. And I
Yeah,
was calling the leads myself originally. So I was having to wake up at like 5 in the morning to call them. It sucked. And I was like, right, like I'm just going to hire someone to do it. And there was like no system behind it. I didn't even know how to teach them to do it. And it just didn't work at all. I ended up going through about a lot of different setters, probably like 5 or 6 different people who I all tried out. I tried hiring people from the States on like a commission basis. I tried people off of Fiverr. I tried online jobs. Like I tried everything. Um, and like none of it worked. So, I mean, I did that for what, maybe 4 or 5 months. And I just gave up on the call center in general. And I was like, okay, um, either something I'm going to do later or I'm just not going to do it at all and just focus on lead generation for now. So,
yeah,
yeah, I was at a point where I didn't expect to be building it again as soon as I am. Or like there's part of me that thought like I just may not be able to do it at all.
yeah,
So
yeah. That makes perfect sense. So many people go through that before they discover call center mastery. They go through this whole process. Like you're not the only one. So
yeah,
and it's like it's my job to try and show people this before like my ads need to whatever. Like, because I want to save people time. I don't want people like spend like like you said 4 months, all this time and energy going into it, and then once you find call center mastery, you're like, oh my god, this is so much better, right? So
yeah.
yeah, it makes perfect sense, man. So what do you think going through call center mastery like? What do you think the biggest impact has had on? Also, I know you stopped the call center and restarted it, but what do you think the biggest impact on your agency has been since running it again with CCM?
Um, Honestly, man, I think the biggest thing is just like sales calls. It's so much easier to hop on a sales call now. Like rather than because there's such a huge fear when you're talking about like just lead gen that there's, these unspoken fears around people not knowing how to manage leads, or even from my part, knowing that, okay, I can give leads to this clinic, but they actually don't really know how to deal with them. Like they don't know how to manage them. And I can coach them, I
Mm,
can train them, but all these people will still be like, oh, like just give me leads and I can close them. And then they'll call them once and then I'll never call them again. And I was like, oh my God, like you're wasting it, but whatever.
that's
Um,
that's such a good point as well. Like even from a conviction standpoint, when you're selling, right? Like even if like the call center itself isn't about convincing them to sign up with you, even for yourself when you're on the call, if you're just doing leads for people, you're probably thinking
yeah,
like, oh, they're probably not going to get results. And then you feel bad kind of selling them, right? Because it's
yeah,
gonna be this messy kind of situation. So the fact you've got the calls, yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even thought about that before. Like that's a great point, man. Yeah.
yeah. Like sales calls has been crazy. Like my close rate's gone up a lot since having it. It's been awesome being able to up my prices. It feels great. Like I think I've added on like a grand a month to my prices, which feels so good.
Oh,
Um,
dude, I love that. I love that so much. And
yeah.
how hard was it to implement all this stuff, like all the call center stuff?
Um, I mean, look, like it's never going to be easy to implement a system like this, but like considering what's in it, I thought it was relatively easy, speaking like considering it's a whole new system and new service that you're implementing. I mean, what you have in the course makes it easy. It's straightforward. Um, when it comes to any sort of like management and building culture stuff, like I never think that's going to be easy. But
Yeah.
you lay out like the course has literally like every step you need to follow to actually be successful with it. And
Yeah.
even just like the automation stuff that you've built out with Make.
Yep.
I've actually started using that with other systems, around like onboarding and client success and
Perfect.
stuff like that. And even just like going through the course, learning how to build up those make automations and stuff like that's been super helpful. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man. I'm excited for you to get into that the new. I know you said last night you were playing around with it, the new reporting stuff as well. That's gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get that locked in
Yeah,
as well,
it's gonna be crazy.
it's gonna be game changing. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Awesome,
and
man.
it's so crazy for me to think because I even just talking with you earlier, it made me realize like I've only really just sort of started scratching the surface of what CCM actually could do in terms of like, I've obviously just got the one set at the moment. When I start bringing in more setters, that's when all the reporting stuff is going to become so game changing in terms of like actually be able to see who's killing it, why they're killing it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, really build
Yeah.
like a culture of success, I guess.
Yeah, it's about it's such a good point, man. It's like being able to identify the weak links in the team.
Yeah,
And it's not just about like removing them or firing them. It's just about giving the people the right coaching. And if also
yeah,
do the half the battle is people knowing that you can track this stuff. If someone knows that every day they're gonna know how long they're on the phone for, what's the average call duration, how many conversations, all that kind of what's their show rate of their appointments they're booking, all that kind of stuff,
yeah,
then all of a sudden they're gonna put in the extra effort because they know they're being watched now. So that's half the battle right there as well. So that's super key, man. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
And in terms of before jumping into CCM, what kind of fears or worries did you have about obviously before you knew what it was like, and now you know obviously, but
Yeah.
what was it before jumping in? What was your kind of worry about all of it? If you had any, I'm sure you had probably some, right?
Yeah, no, dude, I definitely did. And I think a lot of the fears I had were sort of off the back of me trying to launch it earlier. So I had concerns that like I was going to launch this and it was just going to crash and burn. And like this is probably just a belief issue that I had, but I saw that I probably had like a couple of chances at doing this and I actually had to get it right. Because obviously with the set, like you need to try and have them as close to capacity as possible and actually make sure there's work there for them to do.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I knew it'd be tricky to launch it right. And then if I messed it up, then I'd sort of have to hold it off until what's the best way of explaining it? I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense at the moment, but if I get it wrong, then I feel like I would have had to wait a while to try and launch it again.
It takes resources.
Um,
It takes like not just
yeah,
money, but like time and effort and energy. And like if you're
yeah,
focusing on the call center, that means you're not focusing on sales. You're not focusing on other parts of the
yeah,
agency. And so if you're constantly on call center and it's constantly not working, at one point you've got to be like, right, okay, I need to get back to a level with everything else before I can give this another go. So yeah,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense. So essentially you're worried that if it went wrong again, it would just delay your growth, right? That's pretty
totally.
much the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was worried that I was going to put all this time and effort into it because I the way I approached it, me and Devin both were like it was just a sprint. Like I'm pretty sure I got into the course and I had everything built out in like a week because I just like
Yeah.
sat down and that was like all I was doing is getting it built out.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that, man. That's so good. Yeah.
yeah, so like there was definitely some fear around that, but I mean things worked out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I love it. And do you mind me
Yeah.
asking actually about revenue numbers as well? What kind of revenue was you seeing before doing call center mastery, and what kind of revenue are you seeing now after going through it?
Yeah, so before I was at around like 10K a month. Now it's hard to say because like it's a really good problem to have. But a lot of the people who are coming through with the call center now, they're paying in full for 3 months. So like it's hard to say exactly in terms of like MRR.
Yeah,
I'd guess it'd be around like 22K.
22K. Cool.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
Love that.
like really
Yeah.
good problem to have.
Yeah, yeah, dude, I love that. It's too much cash in the bank, right? That's always
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna be a problem. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. And what have been your favorite parts of the program as well?
Um, I love the stuff you have around culture because, like, for me, I don't know when I'm looking long term at what like I want the business to look like. Culture is so key to that. Like, I think management and culture and leadership is something I want to be really, really good at. And like, I think that's something you cover off really well. Like, you had a really long video on it, just going over. I think you had the 22 steps to building like a strong
Yep,
culture, right?
yep,
Um,
exactly that.
yeah, like the automations and stuff you have are great, and the snapshot is amazing. It makes it so easy for the setter to do the calls. But I think, yeah, actually having that emphasis on building the culture, which I mean, even just looking at your team is something that you've clearly done really well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, thanks, man. I think it's like even before this, before we had this call, we spoke about it, and it's such an important thing. It's people will spend
yeah,
time getting the setters in and doing all this kind of stuff, and then they forget. It's a retention game for like your team as well. It's not just your clients'
yeah,
retention. It's like if you can retain your team, then your clients naturally are going to retain more as well because your team get familiar with them and how to do the calls, and everything just gets better. But
Yeah.
yeah, cool, man. And final question.
Uh,
So, oh, sorry, go on. Yeah, go for it.
yeah, I was just gonna say another thing as well. Like I'm really bad with technology, especially like when it comes to things like make and like I mean, if you asked me what a webhook or anything was like, 6 months ago, I'd have no clue. Like I'm really useless with this stuff. So
Yeah,
it's good knowing that now that I'm in this, like not only do I have what I need now, but like you and your team are always in the background churning away on different things to try and work up and make things better. Like you've got the snapshot automation that's coming out soon in terms of like, automatically
yeah,
creating the snapshot when a new client signed and the updated reporting and stuff like that. Like it's a really good feeling to know that I feel in really safe hands to know that like when new stuff does come out you guys are onto it and you share it with us and it's super easy to set up.
love it,
So
man. Yeah, I love that. Love that. And what would you say? You've already obviously done a great job with this. But if anyone is on the fence and they're thinking about joining CCM, what kind of things would you say to recommend CCM to them?
do it. Like, we were talking about this before. Like I'm surprised it should be like 10x the cost, literally, considering like the value you can get from it.
Yeah,
If people can like build out this call center stuff properly, or for people who already have call centers, like actually dialing everything and being able to track your numbers, being able to like systemize it, automate it, all that sort of stuff. Um, Long term, it literally does have the potential to add millions. Like it seriously does.
love
So
that. Yeah, love
yeah,
that.
like
Yeah,
literally
no,
just
that's
just
yeah,
do it. But bite the bullet and do it. And like even 30 days from now, if you build it out, you'll be so stoked that you did.
yeah. Awesome, man. Well, look, thank you so much again, Oliver, for jumping on this and doing this with me. And I'm excited for your continuous growth, man. You're doing such a great job, and you know, some people that I speak to, you can just tell they've got that like fire in them, and you're definitely one of them guys who's gonna hustle and crush it. And so, yeah, I'm excited to keep working with you, man, and keep growing this thing.
Dude, yeah, thank you. I'm still really stoked that you've actually like built this community in this program because it's exactly what I needed. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
like thank you.
love it. Awesome. No problem at all, man.